What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
And we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
I'm not an urban planner, but I play one on TV. So you might ask, why do you run a YouTube channel about urban planning in walkable cities then? And I would say, what a coincidence! That's the topic of this video! I grew up in a car-dependent, car-infested city called London. To avoid confusion on this channel, I usually refer to it as fake London or sometimes something derogatory. By the time I was a teenager, I was pretty bored of fake London, so I wanted to get out as quickly as possible and see the rest of the world. So while I was in university, I took advantage of internships to live in several different cities in Ontario, as well as in the San Francisco Bay Area. During this time, I also drove across the United States 7 times and across Canada once, and I stayed in dozens of cities and towns along the way. Apart from some minor differences, all of these places were pretty similar. There's an overwhelming sameness between almost all cities in the US and Canada, primarily due to their car-centric design. In the end, I decided to live in downtown Toronto. This was a place that was interesting to me, but I didn't really know why at the time. I just knew I liked it a lot more than suburbia. Incidentally, when I lived in downtown Toronto, I was able to easily live car-free, and this allowed me to save huge amounts of money when I was young.
Uh-oh.
After the dot-com crash of 2000,
I remember that.
Pets.com, because pets can't drive. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is my kind of party. Oh, yeah.
I was laid off from my first job out of school, and I was left unemployed for a very long time. When I finally did find a job, it was at a significantly lower salary than what I was earning before. There's simply no way I could have gotten through that time in my life if I had to own a car to buy food, to apply for unemployment benefits, to go to job interviews, and to go to work. This is one of the reasons why I'm so hostile towards car-dependent places, because they are burdening everyone with thousands of dollars per year for the cost of an automobile, just so that they can work and feed themselves. This is fundamentally wrong. Nobody should have to own a car just to participate in society, and designing a city that way on purpose is criminal.
Oh.
But what really opened my eyes is when I got a job that required me to travel. Suddenly I was being sent to the UK, Germany, Taiwan, Japan, and all over the United States.
Okay.
I started realizing that there was a whole world of interesting cities out there, and they weren't all the same car-centric sprawl of the GTA or the Bay Area. During this time, I traveled excessively for both personal and business trips. There was a period of several years where I wasn't in the same time zone for more than about 3 weeks at a time. One thing this insane amount of travel did provide me with was the opportunity to see how other people lived all over the world. I wasn't going to places as a tourist. I was going to where people actually lived and worked. I was taking local trains in Tokyo. I was stuck in rush hour traffic in Boston. I was taking the S-Bahn in Berlin. I was taking taxis for remote factories in Shenzhen. And I was going between these drastically different cities on a nearly weekly basis. It was amazing to me to see how different all of these cities were, and the different ways that people lived. But at the time, I never really thought about why this was the case. Like most people, I assumed it was for cultural reasons or due to the weather and local environment, because I was completely ignorant about urban planning. That all changed during a trip to Houston.
Oh, snap.
Why are you
I was in the middle of an around-the-world trip. These are discounted tickets for traveling to multiple cities, but you need to travel only in one global direction. Always east or always west, until you've flown all the way around the world. For most of my trip, I had taken public transportation in the cities I had visited, but I'd been to Houston many times before and I knew I needed to rent a car. However, I had met up with some coworkers for this leg of the journey, so we shared one car between the 3 of us. We had a day off on Sunday and my coworkers had taken the car. When I was unpacking in my hotel room, I noticed my suitcase was falling apart, so I searched for a luggage shop nearby. Thankfully, there was one 800 meters away. No problem. I decided to walk there. That was a terrible, horrible mistake. I exited the hotel to find that it was on a street with no sidewalks. None at all.
Walk in the grass.
So I crossed through the adjacent
Crossing
parking
bushes.
lots. It is disturbingly common to find places without any sidewalks in American suburbia.
So what happens with that is it always look bad on a person when there's no sidewalks because they're walking across parking lots, bushes, they're crossing businesses, and people looking at them like, who is this person? Where they going?
Right.
But it's a culture still, in a sense. So we know that if there's no sidewalks, thank you. If there's no sidewalks, then we have to walk like that.
Yeah.
But in, like for most cases, especially at certain times of the nights, early mornings, if you're randomly doing that and people notice you, especially for officers just sitting in the parking lot, they're watching. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, you're being watched for that.
Yeah, because this is not an area that they want foot traffic to be in.
Right. And another thing is that people may find somewhere just to lay down.
Right.
See,
That's
I saw that
sad
recently.
reality.
I saw that recently during the Thanksgiving break where a guy was sitting in the cut of a business. Gentleman came outside and said, you can't sit here. We got traffic with the vehicles and people passing through drive-through. You're going to have to leave. And he had a lot of stuff out. You know, he was making his home. So.
Right. That's another sad reality here.
I had grown up in a car-infested city, so I was used to it.
Not infested.
As I got out onto the main road, there was a sidewalk. I didn't know it at the time, but this road is what Strong Towns refers to as a strode, a street that is designed like a road, and in doing so is expensive, inefficient, and dangerous. This walk was pretty uncomfortable. The weather was nice, but there were no trees to provide any shade. The landscape was boring, and I was surrounded by asphalt.
No!
All of the businesses I passed were far in the distance, behind giant parking lots, and the signs were all oversized and only meant to be read while driving.
Right.
True.
In a place like this, you're walking next to polluted air and the constant noise from high-speed vehicles, and you always need to be alert for any cars going in and out of driveways. As drivers are only looking at oncoming traffic, they are not looking for pedestrians.
Oh, no. See.
In America,
No, pedestrians
See,
have the
hold on,
right,
wait a
though.
minute.
Pedestrians have the right to cross.
Yeah.
They have all right to cross. Cars
That's why
supposed to
you're
stop.
wrong, baby, because I don't want to be the cause of nothing. I'm always looking for pedestrians.
Man, I ain't trying to hit, bump, even almost make a mistake. That is one thing you do not want to be a part of.
I don't even want them to think I'm about to make a mistake. Oh, no.
We see you passing, that window tinted with our hand out there,
Come on.
flash them lights, do something. We're going to notify that person that they got the right.
Right.
Because, man,
No problem.
you,
At all.
if you're hit by a car. Stoplights are long and there are too many of them. And because cars can turn right on red lights in America, you have to be hyper aware when crossing the strode.
Yeah,
This is the
that's
kind
my
of
favorite
pedestrian
part.
experience that people who
Turn
never
right.
walk anywhere think is acceptable.
he's
But then I
crossing
got to
the
this
road.
spot and the sidewalk just
Disappeared.
ended. No warning, no alternative. It was just gone.
Yeah, we
But
never
there
understood
was
that
a
either.
well-trodden path through the grass, so I followed it to this bridge, where there was nothing.
Right.
As I shimmied along the
Make us
curb
look bad.
next to the guardrail, with high-speed cars and trucks passing by me, I
Yeah.
thought about how ridiculous this was. I was
Yeah.
balancing on a few centimeters of curb while crossing a 28-meter bridge with 7 lanes of car traffic. There was no consideration given to anybody who wasn't in a car, and there was no other alternative for people walking.
You're supposed to turn it off by now.
At that moment, I decided that, if I lived through this walk, I wanted to live in a place that was the exact opposite of a place like this. When I made it to the other side, there was also no sidewalk, of course, and I crossed through some more parking lots to get to the luggage shop. Needless to say, I took a cab back to the hotel. Yeah, I took a taxi to
So how you
go
doing that again?
800 meters. In the United States, over 45% of car trips are 3 miles or less than 5 kilometers. That's insane. Europeans assume that Americans drive everywhere because they're fat and lazy, but it's not. It's because these trips simply can't be done any other way. When I got back to my hotel, I started reading about how cities were designed. I learned about car dependency, and I learned about walkability. And I learned about how these places have changed over time, and how some places have designed their cities for humans, not just for motor vehicles. One of the things that really upset me is that the desolate asphalt-covered cities I had visited in the US and Canada weren't always this way. I was told that these cities were like this because they were designed for the car. That's not true. They weren't designed for the car. They were bulldozed for the car. Look at these pictures of my hometown of fake London. This city
But But hold on, we're gonna run so we can show more pictures of that. But coming up, like as children, we never thought about whether we needed a bike or a car to get to where we wanted to go. We instantly put on our shoes and got there.
Yeah, we walked.
You know what I'm saying? We walked every single where. So I mean, now as adults, when you see the responsibility that comes with adulting, we come with, you know, say, hey, we need that vehicle.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah. And I remember having to cross the streets to get to my mama's job off of Canal Street. And that is one of the busiest parts of New Orleans, you know.
Yeah.
But I walked everywhere. We walked everywhere. When we was in New Orleans, we didn't have a vehicle. We didn't have a vehicle until we moved out of New Orleans. And I guess that's because the public transportation was there.
Yeah. Not just that, for me, it's like they had everything that we needed as children.
Yeah.
Because as a child, you're not looking to go to the store unless mommy needs you to go buy like a loaf of bread or something or some eggs. But they had a Piggly Wiggly right there.
Right.
We could have walked. We could have walked there. The park was right there. The penny store was right there. So
the candy lady.
The ice cream cup lady. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Ice cream cup. Cold cup lady.
Frozen cup.
Cold cup.
Frozen cup.
Cold cup.
Frozen.
She was right there, so it's like as a child. So my question is like, when you guys are handling business, y'all prefer to get on a bike, sweat it out, get there?
Well, their things are by them. Okay, so every time we do a video like this, people come in the comment section and say, at least we have grocery stores like 3 minutes away and things like that. And I'm
no. Here's another one. Y'all have such American minds.
We do.
Y'all
We're
don't
American.
know. Y'all know nothing about nothing. It's like, but the teaching here and the understanding and the learning.
We're open to learning about other areas. But anyway, now I can't say it depends on where you are in the United States. But here we have at least about 5 grocery stores within 5 minutes of us.
Yeah,
that we can walk to.
People are walking everywhere.
So it really depends on where you move to. And now there's this trend of building master build communities.
Oh, yeah, so jam-packed.
Yeah, where the people, they have this land. The homes are there. They have a post office there. They have a grocery store there. The police station, like it's
gas
still
station.
Master build.
Gas station. It's crazy to have a gas station in their community.
Yeah, so it's like everything is compact.
Can we also mention that this is such a dog culture?
Oh.
So people are walking everywhere.
Yes.
Regardless of the traffic, they're walking everywhere. So.
Yeah, I was about to get on Texas in a minute. I mean, just a while ago.
Yeah.
When we first moved to Texas, we was looking into apartment complexes. And there were more apartment complexes with doggy parks than children parks.
Yeah, that was a shock. That was a culture shock because it's like, where the kids gonna go and what they gonna do?
Yeah,
you know
so okay. But he's about to go into the history. Let's see. Let's see.
For the car, that's not true. They weren't designed for the car. They were bulldozed for the car.
Whole community.
Look at these pictures of my hometown of fake London. This city is beautiful. Now it looks like this. This is a picture of Houston in the 1970s. No, it wasn't bombed. They did this to themselves. This used to be a compact, walkable city that was just as good as those in Europe or Asia. And they destroyed it.
Destroyed?
When you see a place like this, you think the developers must have got away with something. But literally everything you see, right down to the color of the paint of the lines in the parking lot, are defined in some book of regulations. And those regulations are overwhelmingly designed to make places that are only accessible by car. This is entirely by design, and it's entirely by choice. It didn't need to be this way, and it doesn't need to stay this way. And that is why I became interested in urban planning. My walk in Houston was not the first or the last terrible experience I would have walking in an American city, but it was the most memorable, and I have absolutely zero patience for apologists for this kind of car-centric, anti-human design. I clearly wasn't the only person who had ever walked here, as proven by the path through the grass. You can see people walking here on Google Street View. In a place like this, if you're too poor to drive a car, then you're literally forgotten about. And this situation hasn't changed at all in the last decade, which is why I was able to get this video of it.
So huge mention, not having a car does not mean you're poor.
Right.
That don't mean you're poor. A lot of times they have people doing opposite of what the car culture is doing because they choose to handle their finances differently. That does not mean you poor. I just want to make that mention.
My grandmother has never had a driver's license.
She always got drove around.
She always found a way, baby, okay?
Hey, and the support of a homie, of a friend, a cousin, a sister, a brother is right there down the street, 9 times out of 10. I know some people going to probably try to clap on me at this one, talking about, but why they got to depend on somebody. It's the love and the support of the people that's connected to you that can always be there for you. Your friends always going to take you, you know, probably on your way to work. They're going to probably, there's a lot of different things.
And she lived in New Orleans most of her life. Most of her life. She only moved away once, and she went right back.
And you know what's so crazy? When we would go there, it's like there would be times where she would be like, hey, you know what, today I just feel like I need to go to the store, pick up something.
Right.
We would bring her there and I would walk inside with her. Tell me why she know everybody in the store. I'm like, when last time you been here? Since you don't, you know what I'm saying? She knows everybody, so the love is always there.
Yeah. Walking.
There's no excuse for this. If you have enough room for 7 lanes of car traffic, then you have enough room for a sidewalk or a bicycle path. This is what a 28-meter bridge looks like in Amsterdam.
Oh, that's cute.
It has a sidewalk and a 2-way bicycle path on both sides of the road.
I be asking about
and
this part.
This area in Houston is very suburban, almost 30 kilometers from the city center. But that's no excuse. The area is lined with businesses and shops, many of which are staffed by minimum wage workers. In America, housing prices are talked about a lot, but the most important metric is housing plus transportation costs. How are these employees supposed to get to work? Do they all need to drive? Can they even afford to do that? Here's what an industrial park in the middle of nowhere looks like in the Netherlands. The street is only 2 lanes wide, and there's a beautiful 2-way cycling path that can be used for people walking and cycling. North Americans balk at designing pedestrian and cycling infrastructure anywhere but in busy downtowns. But here, employees of the nearby factories and warehouses can use these safe paths to get to and from work, and for other trips like going for lunch too. There's always...
Now that makes sense, but because of the, personally being in Houston's traffic, I don't think they're gonna make all their roads 2 lanes at all. Not at all. If anything, they're gonna make them twice as big.
Yeah, because so many people are moving there at that, you know what I'm saying? Again, we are a car culture, so you're going to have more lanes that's going to be added before they subtract it. Because what are you going to do with everybody? Like, y'all really going to be talking about 5 o'clock traffic looking like about 4 hours of that.
You're going to get home at 10?
Ooh.
Listen, and even in smaller areas like where you grew up in Lafayette, they are expanding their lanes now. They're restructuring everything to accommodate for the people.
Yeah, and not just that, because they're building more restaurants, right? The location I was just living in before I moved, they just put a Buffalo Wild Wings up there.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if they put more restaurants, what they're expecting, more parking lots.
Yeah.
More roads. So that's just how it is here, Yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty in Amsterdam.
It looks nice.
There's a long list of excuses people make as to why nobody walks or cycles in North America. But that's what they are. Excuses. The real reason is that it's not enjoyable, comfortable, or safe to walk or cycle in a place like this. Yeah, the weather is bad sometimes, or there might be hills. But don't you think that this guy would appreciate a sidewalk? Houston is one of the worst examples of urban sprawl. For my Dutch viewers, if Amsterdam were as sprawling as Houston, then a circle including Alkmaar, Leiden, Utrecht, and Lelystad would all be connected by continuous car-dependent sprawl. There is a right way and a wrong way to design a city, and this is decidedly the wrong way for so many reasons.
That ain't cool.
And by the way, the barbecue joints in Houston are good, but the best brisket I ever had...
Don't switch it up and try to talk about the good food. Don't do that, because he want everything to be like the Netherlands. To compare and say there's a right way and wrong way to do it. And to say that the Netherlands, because y'all going to come in the comments and say the same thing, that y'all have the best cycling system, which is pretty good, y'all do. But it just don't work for... I just can't imagine the whole world.
The same?
Yeah. Difference is balance.
Right. And the people of Houston, they complaining, but at the same time, they not complaining. They just they telling the people stop moving there. Basically.
Yeah.
My life was a mighty Quinn's, and you know where that restaurant is? New York City.
Well, how we get to New York City? Let's talk about New York.
But the sad part is, Houston is not even the worst city in the U.S. and the city is actually doing more to change things than many other U.S. cities. For example, Houston recently deployed a completely new bus network literally overnight, and it has led to significantly higher ridership. Street Films made an excellent video about these changes. They're really great. Bravo to Houston Metro for doing this. Houston has also been installing several bicycle lanes as well.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that.
And the city has removed minimum parking requirements for 2 downtown neighborhoods in an attempt to build a more walkable, mixed-use downtown. Speaking of mixed use, it is a common myth that Houston does not have zoning. It is true that the city does not have a thing called zoning, but they have lots of other restrictions, such as minimum parking requirements, minimum lot sizes, and other regulations that cities would normally put into their zoning codes. And they also have city-enforced deed restrictions that limit what you can build on certain parcels of land that allows, for example, only single-family homes to be built in many neighborhoods. In short, Houston has all of the worst parts of a zoning ordinance, they just don't call it zoning. City Beautiful has a great video about this if you're interested in learning more. But despite all the work that is being done, Houston has a very, very, very long way to go. The city recently completed a multi-million-dollar project that is called a protected intersection for pedestrians. Does this look pedestrian-friendly to you? It is the intersection of 2 6-lane roads, and it literally has high-speed slip lanes for drivers so they can bypass the traffic light when turning right. Slip lanes are insanely dangerous for people walking. It's absolutely ridiculous that engineers would purposefully design slip lanes in a place that's supposedly meant for pedestrians and being billed as pedestrian-friendly. I mean, I guess it's better than walking through the grass and across a death bridge with no sidewalk, but come on, this is what counts as pedestrian infrastructure? And of course, Houston is also home to the Katy Freeway, the widest freeway in the United States. In 2011, $2.2 billion was spent widening the highway to over 20 lanes. And as a result, travel times out of downtown have increased by up to 30%. This is a massive sum of money that could have been better spent on public transit or other alternatives to driving that are proven to reduce car traffic. But instead, it was used as an expensive demonstration of induced demand. And no lessons have been learned here. The city and state are planning an additional $7 billion on highway expansion.
Let's not even talk
this
about
project
the
will
bridges.
demolish
Let's not even talk about them, okay?
See, the thing about the money, y'all, is that no matter how many city town hall meetings that the community go to, it's like they still put the money on what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? People can say, hey, we need more sidewalks. And it may be so long before we see that actually happen, but the construction is being done here on the highway still. You know what I'm saying? Or the construction is being done, like, we may say we need more potholes that need to be filled. And it's just like, yeah, it's the money, look, like, the money situation here is like, we can always say what we want to see change, but oftentimes you gotta get in there, you gotta vote for certain people to get in office to actually implement these rules, and people gotta show up and voice their opinion over and over and over and over and over again, and have people behind them to help them do that as well, so they can get the change they want to see. I mean, that's what it is. But
right, and I think some people are just stuck in the way that things have always been, so they don't challenge it. They don't realize that your voice really does matter. A lot of people here do not believe in a system of change. They don't believe that their votes matter, and it does. But I was gonna say, like, when we moved to this area about 5 years ago, it was a new, like, they were having a lot of new developments in this area. Like, it was a lot of forest still here. But now 5 years later, baby, we got a whole bridge this way, that way, up and down.
Yeah.
Toes.
You remember when they knocked down that little area and they put that jam-packed apartment complex there?
Yes.
And it wraps around, like, it goes, like, it's long. You hear me? And, and they just, like, finalized it, and it's nice looking, and people are moving in. But
nice
the amount of traffic that flows in there is crazy.
I don't like the way it look. It just seems so jam-packed, like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I know we gotta accommodate for people.
That was a double tap. Go ahead.
I know we have to accommodate for new people coming in, but I just don't like it.
Yeah, and it's skyscrapers, y'all. It's like rooms on top of rooms on top of rooms.
2 schools, 168 homes, 1,067 multifamily units, and 331 businesses that employ almost 25,000 people. It is literally never ending. It's often said that the truth about a city's aspirations isn't found in its vision, it's found in its budget. So despite the millions spent on pedestrian improvements that somehow also include faster turning lanes for drivers, Houston is spending billions on car infrastructure and is fully addicted to car dependency.
Yeah, they ain't gonna knock none
I
of this
just
down.
don't know how you undo
They
the
gonna knock none of
damage
it down.
caused by a place designed like this. How does this ever become sustainable, financially or environmentally? And to me, the most sad part is that people who have grown up only knowing car dependence don't see a problem with this. To them, restricting cars is literally taking away their freedom because they have become so addicted to car dependency that they are incapable
heard
of
our video.
understanding that it is possible
Oh,
to
that's the
design
older
places
video.
where
You said
not
that
only
you
do
was
you-
like, no, this is for us. This is freedom, like to have a vehicle to go where we please and how we please, and not take forever to get there. It's like,
But my thing is, what? My thing is, I have been driving since I was 15 years old. I'm used to having my own car. I'm used to not having to walk anywhere anymore. I'm used to not having to take public transportation to get where I want to get. I'm used to being able to, come on, kids, let's go.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
wait for a buzz.
I did the
I
bus
like
thing coming up.
my-
I remember I had to get on the bus. Buses for me are spooky because I always get sick when I get off of them.
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna say this comment before this video ends, and I probably won't say nothing after this. But the only thing that I do see since I moved here that's really trafficky when it comes to pedestrians is children coming out of school.
Oh, yeah.
The people that's walking from their school across the street to get to their house, and you got so much people getting off of work too that's passing back and forth. Yeah, they do a great job with maintaining the flow, but it's so many people,
Yeah,
and it's really not enough space.
it is. It's,
Like the school front lawn be full of kids because they all got to cross the street
in different
yeah.
directions.
in different directions.
Yeah, but we do have, what you call the people?
The traffic stoppers, the people that be doing a
Safeguard, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The-
those
the-
people.
yeah.
I can't think of it.
Wait. Yeah, them people
Yes,
that
yes,
stop the traffic.
yes, stop
Wait. Okay.
No, dang it, Dion, I forgot.
You gonna remember
Keep
it?
going.
You sure?
Yes.
It's gonna come back. It's gonna
need
come
to
back.
drive. You won't even want to drive. And that lifestyle can be better in almost every way.
Bike culture
My
is
travels
wild.
gave me the opportunity to visit every major city in the United States, most of them multiple times, and as a result, I have absolutely no desire to go back to any of them.
Oh,
But those experiences shaped the way I think about cities, and they're what ultimately resulted in our family moving to the Netherlands, the country that has the
Netherlands
best
is
cities
cool.
in the world. And hey, if Houston weren't so terrible, we never would have had this YouTube channel, so thanks, Houston. I owe
Golly.
you one.
the heck? I didn't realize this
Yeah.
is
I'd
the
like to
reason
thank-
he started this channel.
Nah, this is
What?
an interesting clip. Make sure you guys go check his channel out. Like you mentioned, I think this was interesting that he started it based off him traveling, seeing the differences, and then deciding that Netherlands is where he would, he saved a lot of money there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The bike life is good.
The Netherlands have a cool design.
Yeah, it works.
For us as travelers, that would be great for us to just be able to walk around.
But, it's some people that live abroad also voice their opinion about how it's cheaper here, or their money stretched more here, right? Or the rent is way lower compared to what it is in the States. And so it's no different from him saying that the bike life is so much more simpler than cars and traffic and quick turns and things of that nature.
Yeah. It will seem cool when we finally do get there. All right, y'all. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.